Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Leanne Sanders. The search efforts continue to locate a missing man from Onion Lake who was last seen April 10th. Our Ben Lowan has more.
Maidstone RCMP and local searchers are not saying much due to the active investigation. They are searching for 28-year-old Sereni Keymatch. He was last seen April 10th walking in a rural area near the community of Alcurve. It was reported to police that he was using these rural areas to walk back to Onion Lake. Keymatch is 5'9", 170 pounds with black hair and brown eyes. He also has a cross tattoo on his forearm. Keely Grasser, a spokesperson with the Saskatchewan RCMP, asked motorists to slow down along Highway 17 and watch for police and searchers. Maidstone RCMP are asking residents to check their vehicles and properties for any signs of Keymatch. And if you have any suspicions, you can call Saskatchewan Crime Stoppers or your local RCMP. Ben Lowan, Primetime, local news.
Sask Health has issued an alert about toxic drugs potentially circulating in our region. Turtleford RCMP reported 2 deaths on April 11th, and preliminary investigations showed fentanyl may have been involved in the incidents. We spoke to Constable Kelsey Davidge about the cases and what people in the community should watch out for.
I am here today speaking with Constable Kelsey Davidge with the Lloydminster RCMP. And Kelsey, we're here to talk about the toxic illicit drugs that may be circulating in the Turtleford area specifically. That prompted a special release from the Turtleford RCMP last week. What can you tell me about it?
So the Turtleford RCMP are warning the public of the presence of a dangerous illicit drug circulating within that detachment area. Police responded to 2 separate sudden death reports from April 11th on Thunderchild First Nation. Preliminary investigation suggested fentanyl may have been involved in these incidents, but cannot confirm until those results are received back from toxicology and completed by the Saskatchewan Coroner Service. Both of these investigations are still ongoing.
All right, so basically the RCMP are also asking for the public's help to get the word out, but also to get those dangerous drugs maybe out of the circulation.
100%, we need the public's assistance to remove these dangerous substances from our communities, and fentanyl is just one example of that. Please report any information about the presence of drugs or drug trafficking by calling 310 RCMP, or you can also report online through crimestoppers.ca.
We were talking in the newsroom this morning just about how do you recognize when somebody is actually overdosing from one of these substances?
For sure, those signs of an individual experiencing an overdose may include slow or weak or no breathing at all, a gurgling or choking sound coming from their throat, lips or fingernails that may appear blue in color. That person may also appear to be dizzy, confused, almost sleepy, or even exhausted. What we recommend people do is stay with that individual and call 911 or a local emergency number to seek that medical assistance, and that you stay with that person until emergency services arrive.
I know it goes a little bit further as well, recommending naloxone kits be carried and also to have some training in that. In Lloydminster, is there a place that somebody could go to get a kit?
Any of our drugstores carry free naloxone kits. There is 2 different forms. We have now a needle version that's injected, or we have a nasal version, which you could just put up someone's nose. The needle version is available at no cost at any drugstore within Lloydminster.
Oh, excellent. That's good to know. And now also, I guess once they have been administered the naloxone, you still have to wait for those EMTs to arrive.
100%. Naloxone reverses the effects of an overdose, but that can only last maybe even a couple minutes. So it is important that you're still calling 911 and waiting for emergency services to help that person. Normally, that person's transported to hospital for further testing to ensure that they're okay and that those effects are no longer.
Okay, that sounds good. Well, thank you so much for sharing your insight and your information today, Kelsey. Is there anything else the public should know about this?
No, just again, be careful if you do have someone in your life who's maybe experiencing that cycle of addiction or is known to use drugs, having that naloxone kit with your first aid kit and being familiar with those signs and symptoms over overdose may save that person's life.
Okay, excellent. Thanks again today, Kelsey. I do appreciate it.
No problem. You have a great day.
Indigenous leaders from Waterhen Lake and Onion Lake Cree Nations took part in a day of action at the Saskatchewan Legislature today. They joined the opposition critic for First Nations and Métis relations, Betty Nippy Albright, and Indigenous leaders from other areas of Saskatchewan. They were there calling on the Sask Party government to commit to the duty to consult process. Nippy Albright says consultation should not just be a box to be checked. This is about respect. The leaders say the government relies heavily on email or online surveys, as opposed to respectfully consulting with rights holders in their own communities. Minister for First Nations and Métis Affairs Don McMorris addressed questions from reporters at the legislature, saying we're quite proud of our record on truth and reconciliation and the engagement of First Nations into the economy. McMorris also saying there is more work to do. With the end of the school semester fast approaching, it's time for some students to start thinking about their futures. In this week's Beyond the Classroom, we see how students in Lloydminster are getting information from the University of Regina.
U of R Day is a brand new event hosted at Holy Rosary, bringing in faculty from multiple programs to talk about the ins and outs of the University of Regina.
To have a professor from a university who's very passionate about their field come and pique some curiosity is just exciting for our students to have that opportunity. They wouldn't maybe think that they would ever be able to, or maybe financially they're worried about it. So to have a university like the University of Regina come and say, come, learn with us. We'll take care of you. You're gonna learn some great things, and then you're gonna contribute to society in wonderful ways.
Not only is this a great opportunity for the students, but also the faculty, who are eager to recruit people to their respective programs.
What we hope comes across in an event like this is that, like high school, like this amazing high school, our professors, our staff, our recruiters are really personally invested in the success of students, and we want them to feel comfortable with the professors at our university so they know what the experience is going to be like when they go to Regina.
This year was the first iteration of U of R Day at Holy Rosary, where the school is excited at the idea of having this be a regular thing.
With this being the first time, we're really excited for how well the turnout has been. We're always looking for partnerships with different universities and colleges so our students can have a real good idea of what's out there for them. We'd love to do things like this in the future with the University of Regina, and our Holy Rosary career counseling team has done a great job collaborating with the University of Regina, and we could see this happening for many years to come.
And that's all for this week's edition of Beyond the Classroom.
At Lakeland College, our students go beyond the classroom for immersive, hands-on learning experiences. It's about experiencing the real world.
Live music, great food, and unique drinks are coming to Lloydminster. Our Callum Hawkers sat down to get the scoop on the upcoming Flavor Festival.
Nigel Dubé, the general manager of the Lloydminster Bobcats, joins me as we get set for the second annual Flavor Fest event that's only a couple weeks away. Nigel, thanks for coming on today.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. I know a lot of people are getting excited for the event. Can you tell us a little bit about Flavor Fest?
Yeah, well, I think for us, it's the second year for Flavor Festival, and you know, a year ago right now, we were really trying to get the word out about what is Flavor Festival, how it works, and all that, and we continue to do that. But you know, last year we had over 700 people come through the door, and I think we just had over 20 vendors last year. This year we're over 30 food and drink vendors. So it's an event that has live music too as well. So you get your tickets ahead of time or at the door. Once you get in, you get your tokens, and it's up to you. You can sample every kind of drink that there is there, or you could sample every kind of food, or you can pick and choose and go amongst it. And the nice part, there's some live music in the background where you can enjoy an evening out too as well.
Cool. So how do people get those tickets, and where is the event, Nigel?
Yeah, the event will be held this year. We needed more space. We outgrew our space from last year. So this year we'll be at the Civic Center on the arena floor. More space. Last year, I know we ran into some tight quarters in some areas, but this year, a bigger space for that, more enjoyable. We have some picnic tables for people to sit at this year. We listened to people that came last year on some of the recommendations, and tickets right now are on sale. It's the early bird pricing still, and you can just go to Eventbrite, look up Flavor Festival, and tickets will be available there. And they're available right up to the event on Eventbrite, and then they will be available at the door too as well.
And just so people can mark it on their calendar, when is Flavorfest?
Yeah, May 4th. May 4th. It's a Saturday. It'll run from 5 till 10 p.m. The 5 till 6 o'clock shift is the VIP tickets. So very limited tickets, but you get in ahead of everybody else. And then general admission will be from 6 till 10. But we're super excited. We have vendors coming from all over, as far as Weyburn, Saskatchewan, Prince Albert, Saskatoon, Calgary, Edmonton, you name it. There's people coming from all over. We also have the local products here too on showcase, which we're super, excited and thrilled that they're back again. And it's one of those that there'll be something there for everybody. I think whether it's food, we have non-alcoholic drinks on the drink side too for people. We have, there's different dishes as far as desserts, main courses, you name it, it's there. So we even have a candy one that pairs with your wines and your beers. So a wide variety, something for everybody. I think if you talk to anybody from last year, they had a great time, and you learn also too a lot of the establishments in town maybe you've never been to. They'll be there, and you can give them a try.
And can you touch a little bit about the vendors, or is that a surprise?
Yeah, if you go to our Instagram or our Facebook, we've been releasing them, I think, every couple days. So Flavor Festival YLL on Instagram and Facebook. You name it. We have Fourth Meridian on from town here. We have Moonlight Bay from Wainwright. We have Paddock Brewing from Saskatoon. The fan favorite on the drink side last year, Smooth 42 from Prince Albert. They're back again. Bandit Distillery from Weyburn, Saskatchewan. We have some new ones. We have the YQR Distillery from down the Regina area. We have Cypress Hills Winery. The list goes on. I think we're close to 20, 25, drink vendors this year, which is remarkable compared to the kind of the 11, 12. So pretty much doubled those this year too as well. It should be a great event. We're looking forward to it. Follow along on Instagram and Facebook. There's giveaways going on there for people. The vendors will be giving out some tickets too as well. The food side of it, we have the local ones back. On the Border Bakery, for example, has your desserts. We have the barbecue for your meats. It's just everything you look at. It's pretty fun. Come with an empty stomach and you leave full for sure. But there's still VIP tickets left from 5 till 6 o'clock. General admission 6 till 10. They're early bird pricing right now, which saves you a lot of money there. But should be good. We're also excited. It's all live local entertainment that'll be going on during the event. So our whole goal here is to support local, be local. The vendors receive their money back too as well. But we're looking forward to May 4th and what it has to bring.
That sounds like a lot of great vendors, Nigel, and I'm sure a lot of people are looking forward to Flavorfest. So thanks again for your time.
No, we appreciate it.
Thomas Wildman joins me now with the weather. And Thomas, windy and chilly were the weather words today.
Yeah, it was a pleasant walk outside today for me. Somehow my hair still looks fantastic, but in the meantime, so tomorrow's not going to be great, but as the weekend goes on, I think we're finally going to get into that April showers area of the year, and as well as into that springer, more happier part of the year, and hopefully finally be away from winter. Of course, this isn't winter weather. This is more like, the frigider parts of fall, when fall actually exists here in the border city. And of course, windy, as we've been mentioning earlier here. Today, our high was a high of 3 degrees, a low of -6, well below the normal high for today, and the low a little bit better, or a little bit worse, but nothing too different there. 1.8 millimeters of moisture so far here. Usually we have 19.6 for the average right now, so a little bit behind on that, and our temperatures here currently are about the same as the highs and lows that we had today. 0 degrees right now with wind chill, though we're getting all the way down to -6. That 27-kilometer north wind is definitely something you will be feeling no matter where you are in the city today. Taking a look at North Battleford, they're very similar to us, 1 degree, -5, but right now they're seeing a little bit of snow right now, and they're even windier at 29 kilometers per hour coming north for them. And finally, taking a look at our friends out in Cold Lake, they're a little bit better at 2 degrees. Wind chill takes them down to -4, 26-kilometer north wind coming up across both Alberta and Saskatchewan here in our general Lakeland area. Taking a look at the current temperatures across the central region, though, as mentioned, there's Lloydminster at that 0 degree mark. North Battleford down below us, or Maidstone, that's at 0 degrees. Further on the Alberta side, we got Marwayne at 1 degree, Cold Lake similar to us at 0 degrees right now. Bonnyville sitting at 3 degrees with St. Paul at 2. Vermilion also that 3 degree mark. Oh, St. Paul's at 3 degrees as well now. With Wainwright at 2 degrees, Provost sitting at 1 degree, and Vegreville and Edmonton sitting at 4 degrees. Unfortunately, we can't give you a Lac La Biche update right now. Taking a look on the other side, 1 degree for Pierceland, out of the Cross, Green Lake and Meadow Lake. St. Walburg sitting at 0 degrees, similar to us, as is North Battleford right now for the current temperatures. Taking a look now at North Battleford for tonight's forecast, they're sitting at -6. It'll be cloudy and colder late, but we will see some late night snow out in Saskatchewan today, 1 to 3 centimeters. That's 91%, so very likely to see some precipitation and some snow, so be careful of that during your late night commutes and morning commutes as well. Cold Lake is going to be -5, just breezy, so they'll be a little cool for sure overnight, but only a 25% chance of precipitation for them. And here in Lloydminster, it's going to be -6, breezy this evening. Otherwise, it'll be cloudy and cold, though. That nasty 26-kilometer north wind will still be around 25% chance precipitation, so we will likely not see much of anything. Won't accumulate to much. But now we'll take a quick look at our 3-day forecast here, and that's the big one. Thursday, tomorrow, a 94% chance of snow, 3 to 6 centimeters. Not something that I definitely think most of us are looking forward to, though on Saturday and a little bit on Friday, it's going to warm up to 7 degrees and 12 degrees, respectively. A little cooler overnight there, but plenty of sunshine on Saturday, so a great look forward to the weekend. But that will do it for our first look at the weather forecast. We will have some more news headlines coming up after the break.
The Saskatchewan High School Rodeo Association is hosting the Border Town High School Rodeo here in Lloydminster at the beginning of next month. Our Thomas Wildman has more from 2 local athletes who will be competing.
Today I'm joined by Cole and Ty Irwin, who are local high school rodeo athletes who will be competing in the high school rodeo that will be taking place at the Lloyd X May 4th to 5th. And so thank you so much for joining me today, Cole and Ty.
Good to be here.
And so what are some of the events that you guys compete in?
I won't actually be competing here because I was injured a while back and just got surgery, but I'm usually entered in the team roping and calf roping.
And I will be competing in this one. I'll be in shoot dogging, team roping, and
Ty, you mentioned that you are competing in the shoot dogging event. Just kind of what is that event? Because it's not a usual event that a lot of people will see on the rodeos on TV.
it's kind of like if you ever seen steer wrestling where they jump off the horse and then flip a steer. It's like that, but you start off the ground in this cool chute that they made. So you just start with the steer, and you still have to flip them, but after like a certain line.
And for the both of you, what are your favorite events that you compete in?
Shoot dogging is mine.
Yeah. I've team roped for longer, but I'd say calf roping's probably my favorite now that I've got into it.
And how cool is it that you guys get to compete in high school rodeo and be able to compete in rodeo throughout all of the summer and do something that you love so much?
It's good. It's kind of just a way to see your friends too. Like just outside of school and like whatever sports you do, like get to see like a different group of people. Yeah, travel all over the place, Manitoba for Canadians and down to the States for nationals.
And you guys mentioned how much you like to travel, but how nice is it when you have an event like this that is close to you and in your own backyard that you get to compete at?
It's really nice. It's just good to be close to home.
Yeah.
Especially like we've had times where we've forgotten stuff too. Now if we get something, we just go home and get it.
Yeah. All our friends can come, and friends and family can come and watch and see kind of how it works. A lot of the Lloyd people maybe never seen a rodeo. They can kind of see how it operates there.
thank you both so much for joining me today, and good luck at the upcoming high school rodeos throughout the spring and summer.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks.
Time now to have a look at all of the pet pictures you've been sharing with us for our Pets of the Day.
We want to see your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name and have them featured on Pet of the Day.
Some collectors are attracted to certain items because they're rare, they're valuable, or they look cool. But inside this building is someone who is passionate to collect not just because of its cool factor, but also his passion to learn more about each items. Join me as we take a look at inside his playground filled with history and his story.
Gerald Miller, age 62, was born in a small village of Mankota located in southern Saskatchewan and lived in a country life as a kid. He is the second child of the Miller family.
Well, this is Ralph Miller right here, my grandfather, and this is his dad, Carlton, Carey Miller.
By the age of 9, he started his collection, and 4 years later, he started his own museum using his old grandparents' shed.
Well, going back in the day, I guess it's where I lived, in southern Saskatchewan, right? And I hung out with my Grandpa Miller and Grandpa Bengert. And they were the pioneers of that area, a little community called Mankota, Saskatchewan. And it's about, Mankota is approximately 30 miles from the Montana border. Where we lived on the ranch and the farm, we were approximately 15 miles from the Montana border. Long story short, you created your own fun because we were so far away from any activities. Yeah, there was a few activities back in the day in our little community. And it was, back in those days, there was a lot more kids and stuff like that going on. But being on the farm, you created your own activities and fun. And I hung out with my grandpas. Every time they'd come and see me or I'd go see them, they would hand me their stuff. And I think it was probably the grandmothers that were telling them, geez, maybe you should give some of that stuff away. Right?
While some collectors have a specific item that they want to obtain, Miller seems to have an obsession in getting rare and vintage items such as cameras, old meat grinders, and even some old Sears and Roebuck catalogs. He told us what was his first collection that led him to be who he is right now.
I would have to think the fruit jars, the sealer jars over there. And I do believe the first one came out of south of our place on our land. There was a lot of home quarters. If you look in the antique catalog where they have the prices and that, it's surprising what kind of money you can get for some of this stuff. Like, it's pricey. This might even be this is a jewel, yeah.
From a small collections of jars, turned into a studio that became his own tiny museum that is the home of thousands of collections. He is an avid fan of historical artifacts from different timeline. Of course, someone's passion can also be a little too overwhelming for some people, especially his wife.
Do you think it's a bit of overwhelming?
Some days it's a little overwhelming, and sometimes he'll bring in something and I'll say, okay, where did you get that? And he'll say, oh, I've already had that before. I said, no, I don't think so. You must have been at another place where they were giving out memorabilia again.
Oh, you gotta watch those garage sales, Leo.
Miller doesn't have any degree or diploma in history to learn more about his collections, from tools made out of rocks to old school medicine bottles. He did not graduate in engineering or architecture to build his own studio. And he did not have any educational background to teach people about the history of each item in his collection. All he has is his will and passion.
Miller had his items in the mall for almost 5 months and is now currently looking for a new place to showcase his collection. And despite the challenges, he is still determined to find new venue and new ways to showcase it.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery, downtown Lloydminster.
Stephanie Dobson is back with us this week. Stephanie is a lawyer, mediator, and online educator with Hanka Divorce Law and Mediation, offices in Lloydminster and Edmonton. It's time for another episode of Healthy Thriving Family After Divorce. Stephanie, thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me again, Stacey.
Well, this week we're delving into step families, and this can get a little bit dicey for a number of reasons. And we want to talk about some tips to basically have a successful relationship when a step family is kind of the focus of things. So you've got 5 tips this week. So let's start with number 1, which is take your time.
Yeah, that sounds good. Thanks, Stacey. So it's going to, of course, take a lot of time to build the relationship between the parent and their new partner, who will eventually become a step parent, who may eventually become a step parent, I suppose, to your children. If you feel ready to introduce your children to your new partner, I highly recommend that you go really, really slowly. You'll want to wait until you've been dating for quite some time before even doing an introduction to the children. And in fact, there's many co-parents who even set out a time frame in their separation agreement that says, when we repartner, we agree that we aren't going to introduce the children to a new relationship for, a certain amount of time. So by the time you're ready to introduce the children and, in fact, be step parenting, there's a bond between the parent and their new partner that will already be solid. But to introduce new partners as a step parent is going to take quite some time. So pick up on the kids with their cues, and giving them time to adapt is key.
Okay, and tip number 2, Stephanie, is communicate openly in your relationship.
Well, true enough, because integrating a step family is really hard work. It's much more difficult, of course, than the bonding was in the original family. So even before any introductions to the children happen, or before someone becomes a step parent, as a new couple, you'll want to have discussions about parenting and your roles as parenting, and try to get a good sense of each other as parents first, so that, because once the introductions happen, then the really hard stuff is going to happen. There could be some resistance from kids. There could be trying to get accustomed to running your household together as co-parents, and even how each of you parents. So if you're truly committed to making your step family work, you want to be able to communicate really openly with your new partner.
Okay, and number 3, Stephanie, is support the children.
Well, of course, it's important to support the children both in their relationships and in their transitions. So first, in their relationships, the children will maintain a bond with their family in both mom's house and dad's house. And it's really important to encourage this bond to continue and to be strengthened and nurtured. When the kids talk openly in the one home about the other parent's home, it's really important to be positive and supportive of that relationship of the other parent. And kids need to know that it's okay to talk openly about the other other parent. So in their transitions, and what I mean by transitions is exchanges between two homes. And very often that's one of the most difficult times for children. And they experience different routines, different expectations, and it takes time for them to adjust. So I encourage that not only are those routines and households different, but now you've also got a step parent who's in that home. So it's really important to have that extra bit of patience with kids as they transition from home to home.
Okay, and number 4, Stephanie, is defer to the biological parent for discipline of the children.
Well, and this tip is going to depend on what stage of your step family relationship that you're in, because right at the very beginning, it's important that that new partner, or what I guess is an existing partner at the time, it's important that they start to be able to deal with the children's behavioral issues over time, but that's going to take quite a bit of time. So it's really important that you not have the step parent do a lot of the discipline right at the beginning.
Okay, and our last tip for today is to make sure to carve out adult time.
Well, the children are going to take time to settle into this new step family relationship. And especially at the start of that new step family relationship, it's going to be important to focus on the children and their adaptation to their new reality. However, despite this, it's important really to remember to focus on your adult relationships as well as spouses, not just your relationship as a parent or a step parent. The statistics show that the divorce rate for second marriages is far higher than that for first marriages. So we need to make sure that we're nurturing that relationship to stick it out for the long haul.
All right, Stephanie. Well, thank you so much for joining us once again this week.
Yeah, thanks, Stacey.
Toronto Raptors player Jonte Porter has been banned for life from the NBA after an investigation found that he violated league rules on betting. Those rules included disclosing confidential information to sports bettors, limiting his own participation in one or more games for betting purposes, and actually betting on NBA games. It's too bad. It kind of puts a bad look on the whole game, doesn't it, or the team?
Well, I think it's certainly, yes, it's a bad look for this player, but it's a bad, but I think the NBA takes the right play with this, and I think certainly he, at least in the last 10 or 4 or 5 years, he certainly has been the biggest offender, because usually they aren't, he was disclosing information about him being injured too, and that's usually very hush-hush in modern day sporting events and whatnot. So yeah, it's a big deal for sure.
Well, that's all we have for you this evening. Thanks for joining us and have a good night.